Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Velocity Sellers Podcast. I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and today we are joined by yet another special guest. We're joined by David Zimmerman, who's going to talk to us a little bit about some PPC software, software really in general, and also just Amazon advertising and how you can maybe leverage some of these softwares to help you with your success. So David, thank you for joining us today.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me.
If you wouldn't mind giving me a little bit of background of kind of how you got into this space, maybe into the whole Amazon software programming space in general.
Yeah, so I studied sports management, so something completely different. I'm not even sure how I ended up at Celix, one of the major softwares back then. Not so known anymore because they got acquired eventually. But I stuck at Celix for like 4 years, helped Amazon sellers with their ads automation mainly. And then after a little stint at an aggregator, Razor Group, I kind of tried to do my own thing, freelancing a little bit, Amazon ads. But what always stuck with me was, trying to really understand who offers the best softwares. I kind of already did that for, in my job at Celix, trying to compare who has what and trying to explain to Celix users back then that we were better than others. Because back then, Helium 10 was like suddenly surging out of nowhere and everybody on YouTube was talking about them. And it just annoyed me, a little bit, frankly. And so I had to kind of start these overviews for myself to be able to show people, okay, but we actually have more features. And that's kind of how it started with these overviews that we might be talking about later on. And
Yeah. I know the popular vote sometimes beats out the electoral college one. So I can see how on YouTube, if they're blowing up, everyone's like, oh, I need to use Helium 10. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this. So you have, give me an overview. You have a course and a program that kind of evaluates different PPC softwares, or?
Yeah, so I have a course about Amazon ads, and it's typical kind of, education, first of all, learning about all the strategies and all that. But yeah, I'm also including these overviews, these comparisons where I kind of, try to rank all these Amazon tools, ads tools, SEO tools, profit tools. But yeah, the focus for most people is the PPC tools. So that's part of it.
And what are some of the things that you kind of look at? I want to get into the sheet. And I know, thankfully, David here is willing to share it with us and kind of give us an overview of it. But what are some of the basic things you look for when you're measuring out the difference between PPC tools? And like what makes one better than the other? And that's a pretty broad question, but in a nutshell, kind of what really top three things to you that make one software better than the other.
Bid management is still the core of everything, so that gives the most points. I have a lot of features around bid management and especially around automation. So that's where I give the most points. And then obviously I try to give more points to features that are not available in the ads console, because the ads console is actually, quite comprehensive already by these days. In total is around, I think, 200 features that I'm looking at. So, the sum just makes it in the end. And I can't really say there's a feature that I absolutely don't need. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it in the overview, because in the end, I'm doing it for myself. And I want to see who has all these features. But yeah, bid management.
200 features?
Yep.
Between the different softwares, there's enough to kind of compile. I guess thinking about it, when I use Helium 10 and I use maybe Viral, or when I used to use Perpetua, I guess there is a lot in there. I didn't think it was 200 though. That's crazy. Well, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to kind of go through the sheet with you and
around 200,
poke your brain about it.
I hope people won't be counting the columns now and complaining later on.
Some of our viewers might, I'm not going to lie. So you might be getting a message from some random person saying, hey, there's only 198 in there.
It might be the other overview, so the SEO and profit.
I had the pleasure of, for our viewers, I already saw this. So you guys are behind. You guys are catching up. I took a brief look at this when David and I met just to chat about coming on the episode. So I'm interested to go through it though in depth. So very cool. Very Yeah, I'm a big Google Sheets guy. People swear by Excel, and I don't. Excel is cool, but that's like the olden days now. You got to get on Google Sheets. It's just nicer. Google really cleans up makes their presentation better than Excel, I think, at some point.
Yeah, I'm also a Google Sheets guy, as you might
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
from this.
But yes, let's go through it. Like, what are we looking at here exactly?
Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to rank all of them, like I said, and I have these different scoring systems, like, for example, the starter brand scoring system. And based on the scoring system that I choose, all of these features get different amounts of points because, of course, not everything is important. For a starter brand, they're obviously not on different platforms yet, and they don't need to like harvest keywords from Google Ads to Amazon, for example. That's a bit of an extreme example. Probably most sellers don't need that. But yeah, anyway, these features scores then change based on the scoring system that I choose. Yeah, there's a ton of features. Like I mentioned, all of these green ones are basically all about automation. So we have the bid management, we have the keyword harvesting section, we have other automations around budget and campaign creation. And then we have all these other external data considerations that more and more I'm hoping for and looking for because, yeah, most tools already have the kind of basic bid management stuff. But now where most people are hopeful for is like things like, of course, automating bids based on organic visibility. That's always the main thing people ask me about, who does it the best. And to kind of give a spoiler, nobody does it really good yet. So I'm not really happy with any of the solutions yet. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of other stuff that I'm looking for here. There's tools that kind of automate towards total profit. That's obviously, very nice to have, and not just ACOS-based bidding. So in this example, for example, AdSpurt is nice on that front.
So what are the different rankings you can get? So it's just a flat out no, they don't do it. Like what about underneath these scores? What is the no, yes, good, super? What is all that?
Oh, yeah. So I mean that's always a bit of a relative thing. Yeah, I mean it just means that they do it better than others, and partly usually means it's in a very limited way. It's it's just a relative thing.
Yeah. So how many softwares do you have in here that you're pulling? I mean, how many PPC software?
Oh boy, yeah. Let's have a look. I mean, so this is up to row 12. All right, so it's around
a lot more than I thought.
45 checked so far, but as you can, and I usually never show this in my other videos, but there's a lot of tools that
you guys are getting a Velocity Sellers podcast exclusive here. Wow, there's a lot more than I thought there would be. I guess it makes sense. Maybe I'm just thinking it's smaller, but this is very extensive and built out to monitor these top people.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not enough time to check on all of them. Honestly, there's just more and more keep popping up every time I think like, yeah, why do these tools think they have a chance to compete against these big guys? But they keep coming up. I don't know what. Anyway, so the green ones are all about automation, and then the blue features over here are all about manual, management and analytics.
And how many scores? So you said there was a starter brand score. How many different categories of that is there? Is there like starter, mid-level, high-level, or how in-depth does that go for the score?
So far it's just starter, and then it basically moves to multi-brand scoring system. I should probably actually make just a normal, mid to high-level scoring system. Not come to think of it, although that is probably my de-scaling system, although I never show that on YouTube. That's the special thing that only my course buyers get, and the other ones I show on YouTube.
Yeah, so we're getting some real exclusive Velocity Sellers podcast content here. I love it. Thank you for sharing most of this with us. Sure. But yeah, okay, very, very, very cool. So if you could run us through just a little bit about, again, I know bias is hard, but what are some of your favorites that you see for, I know the score here tells me the answer, but what is something that a starter brand should really care about, and what have you kind of outlined for them that they should be really focusing on early on for some of these features, so some of these softwares?
Me personally, I'm all into machine learning, bid management. So because the rule-based automation software providers, they're all the same. There's basically no way to differentiate between them. Okay, you can set up these rules and, at some point you can have different levels of rules or layers of rules, multiple conditions in those rules. But eventually all these tools have that, and then what? They're all the same. So, and even so Central Ads Console by now has kind of bid rules. So that's not what I would look for in these columns right here. It's not what I would look for. And instead, obviously, this is kind of the most important. I also give it the most points, in my opinion. And then obviously I want to look at the pricing as a beginner brand. So it usually ends up with me recommending Bidix or M19, although I don't like a lot of stuff about it. It kind of forces you into a certain campaign structure and stuff like that. And of course, Perpetua, always a solid option at that pricing. Although, again, similar to M19, some things are a little bit, not ideal.
What's not ideal? Is that something you can, or is that is that a secret?
No, although actually they did fix something which M19 did not fix, which is this column, which is the option to actually make use of your existing campaigns, because M19 kind of forces you to, it basically restarts everything. So it uses your data from your old campaigns, existing campaigns, and it wants to start its own structure with its own campaigns that it automates later on. So if you haven't really, if you haven't really been running a lot of campaigns, and then M19 is a good option, I suppose. But anybody that has been running campaigns knows, it takes a long time for them to get running, to get traction, to get trust from Amazon, and you don't want to throw that away. So
you got to have some data in there. I know when we meet with our potential partners, we always say, oh, it's great that you have data in there, even if it's, you're losing money on it or it's just horrible, because we want to see that again, like we can use the old data and take it and reuse. That's weird that they want to restart their own. But these are all, so this measures, again, this is just a great way for people to come in and say, this is why you need a software. This is something that says, hey, maybe you can't do it on your own. If you're new to Amazon's very hard to learn. And these guys, for the most part, have it down. So I guess that there is definitely, I want to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of software and kind of just laying that out. But for the most part, this is just a good overview of saying, hey, this is how to pick your best one. This is really diving into what makes each of these special.
Yep. And I mean, I never have an ultimate definite answer of this is the best one for you or this is the best one for beginners, but and everybody has a little bit of a different need, I guess, and they might be doing different things in Seller Central in the Ads Console already. So but anyway, what I wanted to mention real quickly is this other feature that I also dislike in these tools like M19 and Perpetua, is that they're all about wanting to force you to use the automation in the tool, and that goes in hand with this thing that they cannot accept if you do a change in Seller Central. So if you do something, you put something to negative in the Ads Console, the next day it's going to be active again, because in Perpetua it's still active. So basically you have to give up on all the Ads Console's features.
Yeah. Is there a reason why they would do that? What do you see any benefit to that? I'm still thinking about the N19 one too, where they want to erase, why would they want to erase their old data?
Yeah. I mean, they're thinking they don't want the user to ruin stuff. So they want their machine learning to do the job, and, not users being emotional, I guess, and going in there and,
I guess, but I mean, still, it's at the end of the day.
There is a little bit of a point to it because yes, we humans we tend to maybe see a little target and then see it has an ACOS that's so and so in a certain time frame, but maybe we're going to be too lazy to check on another time frame. I can't really say if it's totally bad, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of it either, to be honest with you. But again, I don't own the software, so they have to know something that I don't. I have no doubt that the machine learning is probably in the long run, maybe not even. I would say that maybe the machine learning would be better than the human learning, but even then, a machine's never going to beat a human in terms of experience and saying, I know this isn't going to work, I've done it before, or I know this will work, even if the machine thinks it won't, and stuff like that. I know we do manual bit adjustments.
Never say never.
Oh, well,
But yeah.
true. It's true. Maybe one day
Especially
we'll
with
with
machine learning,
AI.
you don't know where it's going, but
Yeah. Elon Musk and his Neuralink might be better at ads management than than humans one day, but you never know. You never know. This is true, but I know with our on our side, we do manual bit adjustments to go in there and just say, hey, like this is based on the data we're seeing, and could a machine do that? Maybe, but I'm a little scared of the end of the world being caused by AI and machines. A little bit. But I think a human would eventually always beat out the machine for the most part, maybe like 90%, 99% of the time. Maybe the machine beats someone else, another expert at some point, but I don't know.
it depends a bit on the task. So when it comes to bid management, I would say machine learning is pretty even.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
the manager has to give the direction, but with other things like target harvesting or negative targets, yeah, I'm still on your side. So,
Yeah.
I'm very
So
careful
what
with
is-
target harvesting, for example.
Yeah. So are you constantly adding features and like things that these softwares do to the sheet, or is this kind of like are they coming out with new stuff?
Yeah, this is constantly being updated. So, for example, these features are relatively new, so I haven't got this for a lot of tools yet. Yeah, I constantly try to update it.
So what is something that isn't out yet that you think that these softwares could develop that would be super beneficial to anybody in the Amazon space?
That isn't out yet.
I know that's again very broad question, but what is something you would want to see on any of these softwares that could maybe make it take it to a higher score?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't actually checked if there's a column where there's only no's. I don't think there is. So sales market share, yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, that's kind of the toughest one to build anyway. So
Yeah.
being able to first of all even have the sales market share, and then being able to automate towards a certain sales market share, yeah, that would obviously be the dream.
Yeah, that would be a neat little tool to measure just again profitability, how you're doing. And no one, it's crazy. A column of no's, no one's doing that. Not even Perpetua or PackView. Interesting. And then anything else on your side? Like what do you think would be super beneficial for any of these softwares to start implementing to help sellers in their advertising journey?
Honestly, I would be happy if they just kind of built all of these things that I have here, and then so far, because I feel like a lot of them now are putting a bit too much focus on DSP and AMC. So I know it's very nice data and all that, but I feel like a lot of them, there's still a lot of these basic things that are just not being built by a lot of these providers.
Which one of these that you have used or have tried the demo of, which one of them is your absolute favorite? Which one of the ones, if you were like a multi-million-dollar business, which one of these would you use for your business?
That's the question I never answer, or only in consulting calls when people pay me a lot. But I mean, what I can say is not that I like it the most, but obviously PackView has a lot of points and Sky has a lot of points. So
Hmm.
they're getting the closest to what I want, and what I want is basically a tool that offers all of these features. And
Yeah.
then between these two, you know, again, it's not even a secret. Sky, is simply the oldest. So I can just show you the founding year. So they were founded in 2006,
2006. Wow.
and they are a bit more stable, I would say, than most others in terms of data loading and stuff like that. But it's not extreme. The difference is not extreme anymore. It used to be extreme like 3 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Have any of these then, and I'll keep it on the positive side. Have any of these that you've used, have any of them saved you from a potential disastrous situation? Like something went wrong and you were able to use one of these softwares to help you turn it around and not make it a huge, disaster kind of thing? Any stories there?
Don't remember any disastrous stories like that, but in general, so especially at Razor Group when we had like 50 brands to manage, these kind of manual bulk optimization features across multiple campaigns, they were surely very important. To easily quickly detect hundreds if not thousands of targets that were just producing clicks and no sales, for example. So, but that stuff, now we have it also in Seller Central, although it's not perfect yet. But I would say these features definitely great to have for these kind of scenarios when you just want to make sure, or just kind of get things back on track.
What do you think? And I know, again, I don't want to take too much away from the course because I don't want to get your secrets out there. But
no worries.
what do most high level sellers do you think are using? Are they using PackView and Sky? Like, is that really just the big, like, is there a big three that everybody is using? Is it really kind of spread out? Like, what do you think, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of users using PackView. I don't even know why Sky is not like as popular or known in the Amazon seller space. I feel I can't really pinpoint the reason, but I feel like PackView and Perpetual are probably, for the slightly slower tools, are the most popular, and I guess it shows it why.
Yeah, the score
in this score system.
Do you think there will ever be a day where one of these tools, whether it be PackView or any of them, maybe a new one that comes up soon, that has across the board everything you're looking for? Would that be, and on that note, what is a perfect score? If a program had a perfect score, what would that number be?
Commerce IQ was very close to it 2 years ago. They had almost everything, but they only work for vendors, so that's why they're down here.
That doesn't work.
So let's say they had a super everywhere, and let's just pull this down. So 509 points.
A 509 is a perfect score. My last question for you that I want to get into about the sheet is where do you see, and maybe not the last question, but one of the big questions I wanted to ask just one before we even met, where do you see AI taking a lot of these softwares and really affecting their score? Is this going to be, are you already seeing it? Is it something that you will factor in eventually? What are some speculations on that from your end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for, first of all, bid management, still such a big topic and still, like, I feel like so underdeveloped yet, especially with the top tools. When I ask them questions about it, they're usually quite honest about it, that it's not like that spectacular yet. But where I also see big potential, of course, is with the whole keyword intent analysis, and not just harvesting a keyword because it got an order or two orders, but actually making sense of the keywords and then grouping them into certain campaigns that make sense together. And then also additionally, if we go further, considering these things, considering, okay, this keyword group or this root keyword only has that share of voice, and this keyword group is getting me so much profit, or is getting me so much more profit per session, there's so many things you can consider. So we're relatively far away from all of that being considered in one go. But yeah, that's a good.
On that AI topic, Rufus is coming soon to kind of change the game of how people find products. Do you think any of these softwares are going to be drastically affected by it? I'm sure they're going to feel the impact some way, one way or another, which is the way that you rank and how people find your product changing. Do you think these guys are going to be able to implement something that allows sellers to really get a handle on that, or how do you think they're going to deal with the coming of Rufus?
Oh man, I have no idea. But to be honest, I think like the search results is not going to completely, change it. I mean, people are like kind of freaking out about AI, but I think when people want to search for a product, they want some options, and there's never going to be, well, I should never say never, as I said, but there's never going to be
There you go. Yeah.
that day when, Amazon just suggests that one product for you, and why would they kind of ruin their whole ads business? As we know, it's very important for them. I mean, maybe, the targeting has to become even more, even better. That's why also, again, the target harvesting has to become better, because people, really start to more expect to find very quickly what they're actually looking for, and not have to go through, 1 or 2 pages. They don't do that already, but at least now they probably go through at least, let's say, 20 products, and maybe in the future they expect to see their best product in the top 10 products. I don't know, but that's just,
You could never say never, right? I mean, I don't know. Rufus is a very interesting topic. I feel like I've seen a lot of different theories about him and kind of how it's going to change the game for keywords and advertising. And it's going to be super important to have good content because, it's going to scrape your listings to say, okay, this product is good for this based on the images or based on the bullet points or anything like that. So I could see it, I don't want to say replacing ads, but I could see it almost eating a chunk of the work that you do in ads to bid on these keywords, where it's not just as simple as saying, okay, I want to show up when someone types in the words doghouse, or I want to show up when someone types in outdoor doghouse, or anything like that. If you don't have a picture of your doghouse, like the ones down there in the bottom left, outside, you probably won't show up with Rufus. You might show up in ads still, but you might not show up on Rufus's side. So interesting to kind of see how they're going to play both sides of the field.
If you don't have the
both
dog
sides
in
of
the picture, you
yeah,
might also,
exactly.
should
be in your main image. I'm with you. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it shakes things up.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Well, David, I want to thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you showing up and talking to us about the program and kind of giving us an overview of which one is, what makes one better than the other. And I, again, just appreciate you coming out and talking to us.
It was my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody listening on a platform that does not have video, you might want to check this episode out on YouTube because there are a lot of visuals for you to watch and kind of understand. So it might be more beneficial for you to get a visual of it. And thank you guys all for watching. I'm Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.